Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mindship Special Ed channel, your dedicated resource for everything related to special education. Alright, so today's discussion is still on the topic, the role of inclusion in education. So we are still trying to make it possible for us to promote inclusion when it comes to educating students with disabilities and those without disabilities in the same classroom setting. And joining us is Priscilla, who happens to be a teacher for several years. She has taught in Ghana and she is currently teaching in the US. Priscilla, you're welcome to the Mindship Special Ed studio.
Thank you for having me, and I want to say thank you for the fufu that I had. It's been a year since I had fufu, so it really reminded me of home, so thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. And I hope the fufu will help you to give us the necessary experiences that you have gained in your journey of being a teacher, right?
Oh yes.
Right,
I'm alert, so
that's fine. That's fine. I understand, like I said earlier, you were teaching in Ghana and now you have moved to the US and you are still teaching. So how has the journey been?
I'm gonna say the journey has been a bit of a roller coaster, but it's been really good. I got the opportunity to serve my country for a while, and then I had a chance to come here. So it wasn't easy for me to leave my family, my friends, the food, the perfect weather. Gosh, I had to leave everything and come here to come and start all over again. But as a human, I had to learn, I had to grow, and I felt like this chance was an opportunity for me to grow. So yeah,
that's so wonderful. Good. As a human, you have to learn and grow.
Yeah,
and also get more experiences.
That's true.
Great. Priscilla, thank you very much for sharing your journey from Ghana to US in the field of what you're teaching, right? Okay, and I like that. You know, sometimes it's very hard for you to take some decisions, but you know, at a point you just have to be bold enough to take certain decisions. And at the end of the day, you realize that you've made a good decision. All right, so let's get started with the discussion. All right, you're a general education teacher and you are teaching biology, right?
Yeah.
And then you happen to be having students who are having learning disabilities or who are having disabilities.
Yeah.
And then also those without disabilities in the same classroom setting, right? So those that you have who happens to be having learning disabilities, these individuals are actually having special education teachers or resource teachers who are providing services to them, right? So how do you collaborate with those special education teachers in order to be able to handle the students with disabilities in your class?
So I would say that I'm very grateful that in my school, for instance, they are just an email away, and they're very ready to help. So all I have to do is to just send an email, and I'll get all the support that I need. And the relationship I have with them, very good. All we do is to just come together, make sure that our main focus is building the students, making sure that they are doing well, they are excelling. So I have a very good relationship with them. It's really
that is good. And then, like you said, the main aim is to make sure that you are making a difference in the students' life as far as teaching and learning is concerned. Okay, that's good. So what are some of the key? This happens to be a class that you have students with disabilities and those without disabilities. So what are some of the key strategies that you put in place to make sure that you cater for each and every learner in your classroom?
Okay, so whether a student has a disability or not, what I do is that I try to vary my instruction. I like to use a lot of videos, a lot of pictures. If I'm printing out something, I make sure it's very visually appealing. That aside, I like to use cartoons because they're kids. So if you're able to get a really good animated cartoon about the topic that you're talking about, it gets their attention. That aside too, I like to check in, just to be sure that everyone is on the same topic, we're on the same page. So being able to do all of that together helps me to pull everyone along while we're learning. So
that is very, very wonderful. So when you are doing that and you're pulling everyone along, as far as the teaching is ongoing, you are actually helping to promote inclusion when it comes to teaching and learning.
Yeah.
And that's very wonderful. I like that point, and I hope our audience are going to, take these experiences into consideration in order to also help promote inclusion. All right. So, do you have some special way of monitoring or tracking the student progress? Because you have students with disabilities and those without disabilities. So how do you track or how do you measure their progress to see whether they are progressing or not?
With checking their progress, I like to use a lot of auto grading stuff. So every time we do an assessment, as teachers, we have a lot to do. Okay. So getting the auto grading feature helps me to get the feedback as soon as possible. So I know where the student needs the help, and I go in, check in with them as soon as possible, even within classroom. So that feature really helps me to check their progress, check how they're doing, get to know the target areas that they need help with, and give that targeted support to them. Okay. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, meaning you are going to base on the data after the assessment, right?
Yes.
To make a decision.
Yeah.
So how does the data inform you with your teaching strategies?
Data is everything.
Okay.
Firstly, what I do is that when they come, I want to know what they know.
Okay.
So I give them a diagnostic test. And the diagnostic test will help me know where they are.
Okay.
That also informs me how to start the topic. Do I jump certain things, right? And then when I'm also done with a certain topic, I like to give, a short quiz to know that what I taught, how did it go? Okay. Which specific part of the topic didn't they get? So when I know the parts that they didn't get, I go right at that point and give them that targeted support that they need. So
okay.
that's what I do.
Point. So it means that the diagnostic text will give you a data that is known as baseline data.
Yeah.
And you base on the baseline data in order to carry on with your teaching and learning process.
Yeah.
That's very wonderful. But do you have a special modifications for students with learning disabilities in your class?
As I said already, pictures.
Okay.
Pictures, videos.
Okay.
They like to draw. Like, for example, I had a student that loved to draw.
Thank you very much for your responses. So, like you mentioned, you are dealing with students with disabilities, right?
Yeah.
And those without disabilities. But for those with disabilities, you are working hand in hand with the special education teachers to those students with disabilities in your class.
Yeah.
And I know for sure the special education teachers will definitely share the students' accommodations to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that you can take them into considerations in order to meet their unique needs. So how do you ensure that you take into consideration their accommodations during your teaching and learning process, or even during your assessment time?
Yeah. So I like it when they sit close to me. Okay. That the proximity with me helps me to always check in with them. Okay. While I'm teaching, checking with them, see how they're going, how are things going. That aside too, I like to give them extended time. Okay. And there are other times too that I like to give them brain breaks. Okay. So that when they are overwhelmed, they are able to, calm down, refresh their mind again, and come and continue.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So, I do that in the classroom. So.
All right. That's very wonderful. Apart from taking into consideration these accommodations in order to meet their unique needs, do you have on your own? Yeah. Do you have some special modifications that you do in order to make sure that you easily allow or you easily make the student to meet their unique needs? This is an inclusive classroom. So as a teacher, I know you definitely have, I don't know, so I'm just asking, do you have some special modifications that you do?
One could be extended time during tests.
Okay.
So even within the time frame that I give for certain tests, they have extended time to submit their assignments. So honestly, I really do not time their assignments.
Okay.
So I just tell them once you're ready, turn it in.
Okay.
So they extended time for them to do their assignment, and they can always, all they have to do, can you help me? And I just come in and give them all the help and support that they need.
All right.
So yeah.
Okay.
That's
So what
I
about
do.
during the time you're teaching? During the time you are teaching the lesson, what modification do you put in place to meet their unique needs or to help them understand the concepts?
So the first thing is the proximity. When they are close to me,
Okay.
I get to, quickly go in and say, hey, what's up? Are you getting it? Is it, cool?
Okay.
That's one thing I do.
Okay.
And then because they are close to me, they get to hear me well. They get to see everything that we're doing.
All right.
And then once everything is all done, I like to pull them in small groups. I have these small groups that I pull them in to check in whether they would need more support or to even design a mini lesson that will suit just them.
Okay.
I do that to help them.
All right. That's very wonderful. That's very wonderful. All right. So we can be promoting inclusion without building classroom culture. So this happens to be a class that is mixed up with students with disabilities and those without disabilities. How do you educate the general education students so that they can associate themselves with those with learning disabilities, or they can accommodate them, they can welcome them so that they can all learn together as a class?
So with that, I like to build a very strong classroom community.
Okay.
Where in the first few days of class, I give out these get to know you sheets.
Okay.
That has information about maybe, find out who is the person who is here, whose favorite food is pizza, or who has a pet, who likes this kind of music. So whilst they get to know each other, they realize that they have more similarities.
Okay. Thank you very much with that response. At the end of the day, we are promoting inclusion, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and then you can't promote inclusion without ensuring or building classroom culture in the classroom setting or even in the teaching and learning environment. Yes, and that is a wonderful response regarding that. All right, so can you share a success story that you have really collaborated with special education teachers in order to help a student to be successful in your class?
Of course. So I remember I had a student and at the beginning of the semester it was quite a tussle because I had tried to, really connect with him, especially when it comes to after class or when he comes during the extra time to try and see where he is.
Okay.
But I just wasn't getting responses from him. So I had a conversation with his special education teacher, and she told me that he likes to express himself differently.
Okay.
So because of that, I gave him so many opportunities for him to express his responses anytime I want to, check in with him.
Okay.
And I saw him grow so much that at the end of the semester, he wrote a note and brought it to me.
Okay.
And he said that he really enjoyed my class. And even till date, every single time he sees me, he comes to say hi. So that's one student that I'm so happy about the impact that we made in his life.
That's so wonderful. I'm very happy with that. You see, so our audience is always good to give our students various opportunities for them to express themselves. We shouldn't be expecting students to just provide response to us in one way.
Yeah.
That is not adequate or that is not enough, because we have different ways of providing responses, right? And we are different human beings altogether. So we should be expecting, or we should put different ways for our students to provide the accurate responses.
Yeah.
So you said yes, you consider certain ways for the student to provide the responses, right? So what was one of the ways that you used for the student to express or to provide the expected response that you were expecting from the students?
I realized he liked to draw and write.
Okay.
So majority of the responses, he would rather write it than say it.
Wow.
So I would ask him a question and I would always tell him, anytime you're ready is fine. And I would see that he would write it
Okay.
or draw something to represent what he wants to mean. So that was one thing that I gave the opportunity for him to, use to express himself.
Thank you very much, and I hope our audience will take that into consideration when dealing with students with disabilities and those without disabilities in the same classroom setting. Yeah. That's great. All these experiences that you have shared with us, I don't think you easily achieved them, because there were a lot of challenges that you faced, especially when collaborating with special education teachers in handling or providing services to students with disabilities. So can you share with us some of the challenges that you encountered and how do you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so as I said previously, in my school, it's very easy. They are always an email away.
Okay.
But there are certain times that you would want to have certain conversations face to face.
Okay.
And you would want to ask certain questions face to face just to know more information.
Okay.
And as teachers, we have different schedules. So my planning time may be different from a special education teacher's planning time. Okay. And maybe I wanted to have a conversation with him. So that is one struggle. Okay. But that aside, we find time around it. I like to go to school early. So when I go in early and I find out that they are there, I quickly run in, to have a conversation with them. And that really helps to overcome that challenge. So
that is very good. So aside from facing this challenge, you were able to create your own intervention to overcome the challenge. And that's so wonderful. Thank you very much for the experiences that you have shared with us, and then also coming to the Mindshift Special Ed studio for us to have this wonderful discussion.
Yeah.
But before we bring this discussion to an end, do you have a question for me?
Why this? Why are you doing this?
All right, so that's a wonderful question. So the main aim behind this is to promote inclusion. Is to make sure that people out there do away with the perceptions that they are having towards students with disabilities in general. Okay, because most people are having it in mind that students with disabilities are not capable of doing certain things, but that is not the case. A student with specific learning disability does not mean that he or she is not smart. They are very smart, and they are very, very good when it comes to academic aspect.
True.
So that is just the purpose for this studio. And then I hope we are going to make sure that people will take this experiences that we are sharing out there into consideration, so that they can help to shift people's mind. As the name says, Mind Shift Special Ed Studio. All right, so thank you very much, and then be expecting us until next time. Please stay kind and stay inclusive. Thank you.